Welcome back to the Homegrown Handy Dad channel. Today's something a little bit different. We're going to take you on a tour of renting a car and driving through Ireland.
Anybody coming down behind us?
I don't see anybody.
Still good?
We were fortunate to be able to get away for a couple weeks and tour the southern portion of Ireland. We rented a car, and this was our, let's say, our first real day of driving. We had driven the day before, but on this day we took a tour out what's called the Dingle Peninsula. The route we're on now is part of the Wild Atlantic Way. It's a very narrow road that runs right along the Atlantic coast. This is also called the Sleigh Head Tour. I think a lot of the books or tour guide information you'll see really recommend driving this in the opposite direction that we did. But it's just kind of how we found ourselves. We started out the morning at Inch Beach, and then went up to the town of Dingle, and this was kind of basically our ride home at the end of the day. This is a two-way road. The pavement is very narrow, easy enough for cars to pass each other. Gets a little hairy with larger vehicles. There's a ton of pull-offs where you can get some just amazing photographs of just the scenery out there. It's just really remarkable. Again, we're in the off season here, so this is in middle of March of 2025. Fortunate not to have a lot of other vehicles on the road, but you see as you drive around. We'll get out here shortly. These roads are just kind of breathtaking as far as how the scenery is and everything else. So while it's pretty nerve-wracking to drive, just the views that you get are well worth the effort that you put into it.
How the ground is terraced there. I think that's just from sheep and livestock walking back and forth across it. Boy, that's cool. That's wicked cool. Maybe not. Maybe they got like stacked gate in or something for the road. That's pretty out there, isn't it? Especially with the sun. Let's have a picture spot up here. Talking about the car. The car is a Volkswagen Polo. It's a bit smaller than the car we drive back home, in that I can reach all the way across the back of the car and touch both outside of the lenses with my hands, just to kind of give a little perspective of the width. It's not super, narrower, but quite a bit, which has been good. One thing we found out yesterday is how to work the cruise control. Unlike our cars at home, when you set the cruise control, at least on this car, I don't know if it's on all the cars, it just changes what your maximum speed is. It doesn't hold your speed, so you set it, and let's say you're setting it at 120 kilometers. It won't let you go faster than that, but if you take your foot off the gas, it'll slow down to nothing. Now, we did find out, though, if you need to go faster than what you have it set at, if you jam your foot all the way to the floor, it'll bypass that. So if you had to pass, or if you had to make some sort of an evasive maneuver, you can still do that. But that was one thing that we noticed to be different than American cars. When we stop and lock it, the mirrors fold in, which I'm finding is very useful, because everything is very tight parking around here. It's got a small hatchback on it, very small, like luggage storage area. We actually have the back seats down. Not a lot of power, but that's fine. One thing we had to do is turn off the automatic ignition stop for, when you hit the brakes, it shuts the ignition off. What we find out is at the roundabouts, when you go to take off, then there's zero power to pull through the roundabout. So we've kind of just shut that nonsense off. All right. The interior of the car has been a little bit tricky because I keep turning the windshield wipers on. They're kind of in a weird spot. That one's
Somebody coming. No. I know we were just waiting for, just to be neighborly.
Here's where we're shutting off the stop-start system. Like I said, we'd turn it off, especially for the roundabouts. It's a little odd when you're in a hurry to try to back up, you're parking in traffic or whatever, that the shifter's on the left side, but that's life. It does have a 12-volt outlet, so we've had no problem charging phones or anything else. And we made sure that we brought our own device to hold on to the cell phone, which has been a lifesaver, because we've definitely needed Google Maps or Waze everywhere that we've been.
Yep. This is, I'd say, pretty typical to what it's like driving on a rural road. As you see, the pavement's pretty narrow. There's little to no shoulders. A lot of walls right adjacent to where we would have typically see a shoulder around here. The road is striped with a white line down the center separating opposing traffic. Here in the States, we use yellow, so that took a little bit, kind of getting used to. But once you're at it a couple days, it winds up being no big deal.
Good morning. It's day 3. We just pulled up in the Gap of Dunlow at the Wishing Bridge, just up from Kate Kearney's cottage. Rest of the day we're gonna take a tour through here, head next to Miles Gap, I believe, and do the lower portion of the Ring of Kerry tour.
So here we are at the Gap of Dunlow in County Kerry. It's just a beautiful narrow pass that, when you're there, is you're kind of back in time. This area was cut through by a glacier sometime around 25,000 years ago. It's left this kind of like scar through the valley, which is left like 5 lakes in there. There's just a few houses. People have sheep that are, kind of fenced in, but are free range, as you'll see. They just kind of pop up on the side of the road. A lot of the tour information that we read said that it's not recommended that you drive through there. We were early in the morning before any of the what they call jaunting cars, which are horse and buggy carriages, drive you through. There were, I think we passed one hiker and maybe one car passed us, and we might have passed one or two other cars in the opposite direction. Really glad we did it. Don't know how practical it would be in a busy season, only because the road is very narrow, as you can see. But it was definitely a great trip, and we're glad that we did it. So we rented our car from a company or through a company called My Irish Cousin. They were awesome to deal with. Basically, they line everything up, and we pick the car up from the rental counter at the Shannon Airport from an Enterprise Rent-A-Car. So, like, ultimately, Enterprise rented the car. I guess we maybe had a contract through Enterprise and through My Irish Cousin, but not knowing, you know, all the kind of ins and outs of running a car, or as they call it over there, hiring a car, we thought this was the best option for us. It took care of all the insurance, all the damage waivers and everything else, which is generally the most expensive part of renting a car in Ireland. They also offer a concierge service. So let's say we had a problem with the vehicle, or we had a flat tire, or, we got in an accident, we would work through them, and, supposedly they would help us take care of anything that we needed. Thankfully, we didn't have any kind of calamities. We didn't need anything like that. But it was nice knowing that we had that in case we needed it. All told, we had the car for 11 days, and we did 1,460 kilometers. I think that kind of equates to somewhere north of 900 miles. So we did a fair amount of driving. I think over that time, or let's back up. When we first rented the car, we prepaid for all the gas. So we paid for a full tank of gas when we picked it up. And I think that was like 58 euros. Then during the entire time we were there, we got fuel twice. And both times we were just south of 50 euros. So all in, to drive 900 miles, we're looking at about 150 euros of fuel. Gas is pretty expensive over there. I think it was average $1.79, or I'm sorry, 1.79 euros per liter, which, just kind of like back of napkin math, is somewhere around $7 a gallon. So the car was pretty efficient. The all in our rental through My Irish Cousin was I think $1,053 American dollars. So to have the car for the 11 days, rental costs and fuel, we were $1,200 plus or minus all in. I don't know that we could ever get the amount of enjoyment and scenery, just as you see here, for less than $120 a day. So for us, it was a great way to tour the country. We had planned out our route generally in advance, put together an itinerary, and then before we left the country here, we put links in our itinerary to Google Maps. So as we're on the road, just needed to click the link, and it actually brought that map up on the phone. Leah found it easier to then put the information in Waze. She liked Waze a little bit better to help navigate. But it was nice just having that kind of security that you know that we had like kind of pre-checked the maps beforehand, make sure where we thought we were headed was actually where we were headed. Something didn't get auto corrected or anything else. One of the things that we also did, found out we didn't need to, is we got an atlas beforehand and kind of old school AAA triptychs. I highlighted all the routes just because I was concerned that we might not have Google Maps coverage while we were there. We have Verizon phones. We paid $100 each phone for the month. That gave us international data, calls, everything else. That was well worth it, and we had great coverage everywhere that we traveled. Again, we were the southern portion of Ireland. Basically, we went from Shannon to Killarney to Cork to Dublin to Galway back to Shannon. So as far as coverage, we had no problem anywhere. As far as that went, the data ran out on our last day that we were there. So if you were going to be there for a longer time, maybe that monthly $100 fee through Verizon wouldn't be the best. But for the amount of time we were there, so we were in Ireland for 12 days, it was plenty enough.
So our second stop here is on the southern portion of the Ring of Kerry tour is Ladies View. You can see just how amazing it is. Sure, later in the season it's a heck of a lot greener.
Well, I hope you enjoyed joining us along this little tour in the car here. Sorry that the windshield was a bit dirty, but that's the way it goes sometimes. Over the next few videos, we'll probably have some more stuff on Ireland. Maybe just some of the different scenery that we saw. We don't know if we'll put any other holiday videos on, but if there's something you'd like to see or you'd like to see more of this, let us know. Send us something in the comments. We'll try to answer any questions that you have. It was an amazing trip for us, and we just like everybody to kind of be able to share in our experiences. Thanks for watching.